The emergency lights painted the control room in red as Minister Keela pressed her three-fingered hand against the communication console. Her skin, usually a healthy shade of blue, had turned pale gray with exhaustion. Outside the domed structure, the once green sky of Yanari had darkened to an unnatural brown. "This is Minister Keela of Yanari, broadcasting on all emergency channels," she spoke, her voice breaking. "Our people are dying. We need help. Please, anyone who receives this message. We're running out of time." Behind her, Dr. Prim checked the monitors showing infection rates. The numbers kept climbing. 30% of their population was already dead. Another 20% showed symptoms. "The plague spreads through the air," Keela continued her broadcast. "It attacks our respiratory systems first, then moves to other organs. We've tried every medicine we know. Nothing works. We need advanced medical help." She repeated the message in 12 different galactic languages, her heart sinking with each repetition. The Yanari were a peaceful species, focusing on agriculture and art rather than technology. They had only basic space communication, nothing like the powerful transmitters of advanced civilizations. Millions of light years away, at Earth's Deep Space Monitoring Station, technician Sarah Chen noticed the signal. It was weak, barely readable, but the desperation in the alien voice made her sit up straight. "Chief, you need to hear this," she called to her supervisor, Mike Rodriguez. As they listened to the translated message, Sarah's eyes widened. "They're asking for medical help. Sounds like a pandemic." Mike frowned. "The signal's coming from Yanari space. That's way out there. The consortium usually handles that sector. Should we forward it to them?" Sarah asked. Mike nodded. "Protocol says yes, but let's keep monitoring." On the luxurious space station belonging to the Galactic Consortium, Ambassador Threll of the Zixian Empire listened to the Yanari plea with barely hidden contempt. His silver scales gleamed under artificial light as he turned to his colleagues. "The Yanari are primitives," he declared. "They barely discovered space travel. Helping them would be a waste of resources." The other ambassadors nodded in agreement. The Krellin representative added, "They have nothing to offer in return. No technology, no strategic position." "Besides," said the Martian delegate, "interfering with natural selection goes against our principles." Back on Earth, Sarah and Mike waited for the consortium's response. When it came, Sarah's face flushed with anger. "They're refusing to help. How can they just let an entire species die?" Mike leaned back in his chair. "That's the consortium for you. They only care about advanced civilizations." Sarah replayed the Yanari message again. The pain in the minister's voice haunted her. She thought about her grandmother, who'd survived a pandemic thanks to global cooperation. "We have to do something," she said firmly. Mike looked at her. "We're not even part of the consortium. Earth's considered too primitive." "Exactly." Sarah smiled. "So we've got nothing to lose by helping, right?" She began typing up a report for United Earth Command. Maybe humans weren't the most advanced species in the galaxy, but they understood something the consortium didn't. Compassion didn't require superior technology. As the Yanari plea echoed through space, ignored by the powerful and advanced, only one young civilization chose to listen. Only Earth decided to care. Admiral Jane Morrison stood in the United Earth Command headquarters, reading Sarah's report for the third time. The images of dying Yanari children made her stomach turn. She'd seen enough death in her career to know when action was necessary. "The consortium has officially refused to help," her aide, Lieutenant Kumar, reported. "They've classified Yanari as a non-priority species." Jane slammed her fist on the desk. "Non-priority. They're dying. Ma'am, if we intervene, the consortium might see it as a violation of their protocols," Kumar warned. "We're not authorized to operate in that sector." Jane walked to the window, looking out at the blue earth below. "Tell me, Lieutenant, when did following protocols become more important than saving lives?" In the medical wing of the space station, Dr. Elena Vasquez gathered her team. News of the Yenari crisis had spread quickly among Earth's medical community. "I've analyzed their biological data," Alina explained, pointing to her screen. "The Yenari respiratory system is similar to Earth amphibians. We might have relevant experience that others lack." Dr. James Okafor nodded. "During the Amazon plague of 35, we dealt with similar symptoms in local frog populations. Maybe our research could help." "But we're talking about an alien species," another doctor protested. "We don't know if our methods will work." Alina smiled. "That's exactly why we need to try. Sometimes being different gives you a unique perspective." Back at command, Admiral Morrison made her decision. She activated the global broadcast system. "This is Admiral Morrison to all Earth forces and civilian vessels. We have received a distress call from the Yenari people. While others have chosen to ignore their plea, we will not. I'm authorizing a humanitarian mission, despite consortium protocols." The response was immediate. Within hours, volunteers flooded the communication channels. Doctors, engineers, pilots, even retired military personnel. Captain David Park of the cargo ship Hope's Journey was among the first to respond. "My ship's not fancy, Admiral, but she's got plenty of space for medical supplies. Count us in." The consortium's reaction came swiftly. Ambassador Threll appeared on the main screen, his silver scales bristling with anger. "Admiral Morrison, this is unacceptable. Earth has no authority to interfere in consortium territory." Jane faced the screen calmly. "Ambassador, we're not interfering. We're responding to a request for help. You're violating established protocols." Threll insisted. "Your protocols are letting innocent people die," Jane replied. "Sometimes doing the right thing means breaking the wrong rules." In the shipyards, mechanics worked around the clock. Old military vessels were retrofitted with medical bays. Cargo ships were converted into mobile hospitals. Engineers found creative solutions to problems that would have stumped more advanced species. "Sir, the Constellation's life support won't handle Yenari atmosphere," reported Chief Engineer Maria Santos. "Then we'll wear suits," Park replied. "We adapt. That's what humans do." As Earth's makeshift fleet took shape, word spread across the galaxy. The primitive humans were defying the consortium to save a dying species. Some called it foolish. Others whispered words like courage and honor. On Yenari, Minister Keela received an unexpected message. Through tears of relief, she read, "This is Earth. We heard your call. Help is coming. Hold on." For the first time in weeks, hope flickered in the darkness. The Earth fleet looked like a floating museum compared to the sleek vessels of advanced civilizations. Cargo ships with hastily painted red crosses flew next to retired military cruisers. Small personal crafts darted between larger vessels, carrying last-minute supplies. Captain David Park stood on the bridge of Hope's Journey, watching the assembly through his viewport. His first officer, Lisa Chung, shook her head in amazement. "I've never seen anything like this, Captain. We've got ships from every nation, every company. Even that old Russian icebreaker somehow got spaceworthy." Park smiled. "That's humans for you. Tell us something's impossible, and we'll find a way." In the medical ship Florence, Dr. Elena Vasquez organized her team. Volunteers from every medical field had joined. Surgeons, virologists, even veterinarians. "Remember, we're dealing with unknown biology," she addressed her staff. "Stay flexible. What works on humans might kill Yenari, and vice versa." Young Dr. Amit Patel raised his hand. "What if we make things worse?" Alina looked at him seriously. "Then at least we tried. Doing nothing is definitely worse." The engineering crews performed miracles daily. On the Atlas, Chief Engineer Maria Santos had just solved another crisis. "The quantum drives aren't compatible with our navigation systems," her assistant reported. Maria wiped grease from her forehead. "Then we'll navigate the old way. Star charts and mathematics. My grandmother crossed oceans with less." As the fleet prepared for departure, more volunteers arrived. Teachers brought educational materials for Yenari children. Farmers shared seed banks and growing techniques. Musicians packed instruments, believing music could comfort the sick. Not everyone supported the mission. News channels debated Earth's decision. "We're risking consortium sanctions," argued one commentator. "For what? A species we've never met." But public opinion remained strong. Social media filled with messages of support. Hashtag Humanity First and hashtag Save Yenari trended globally. Admiral Morrison addressed the fleet before departure. "You represent humanity's best qualities: compassion, courage, and creativity. The consortium says we're too primitive to matter. Let's show them what primitive humans can do." The fleet launched at dawn, Earth time. Hundreds of mismatched ships rose through the atmosphere, their hulls gleaming in the sunlight. People gathered worldwide to watch, many crying openly. In space, the ships formed a loose formation. The fastest vessels took point, while slower ships followed. They looked nothing like the perfect formations of consortium fleets. "We're getting warnings from consortium patrols," Lieutenant Kumar reported to Admiral Morrison. "Let them warn," Morrison replied. "We're in international space. They can't stop us here." As they approached the jump point, Captain Park broadcast to all ships, "This is it, folks. Once we jump, we're committed. Anyone having second thoughts?" The response was unanimous silence, followed by confirmations from every vessel. Hope's Journey, ready. Florence, ready. Atlas, ready. Dawn Treader, ready. The list continued through every ship. Park nodded. "Then let's go save some lives. Jump in 3, 2, 1. The unlikely fleet vanished in flashes of light, leaving behind a planet united in hope. They were heading into unknown danger, with outdated ships and uncertain success. But they were going anyway, because that's what humans do. The human fleet emerged from hyperspace into chaos. Yenari's brown-tinted atmosphere loomed before them, but that wasn't the problem. A line of sleek, silver warships blocked their path. Consortium vessels, Lisa Chang reported from her station. "They're powering up weapons." Captain Park gripped his command chair. Open communications. Ambassador Threll's face filled the screen, his silver scales glowing with anger. "Human vessels, you are violating quarantine protocols. Turn back immediately." "Quarantine?" Park frowned. "You said you wouldn't help. Now you're preventing us." "The situation has changed," Threll replied coldly. "The plague has mutated. Anyone approaching Yenari risks spreading it across the galaxy." On the medical ship Florence, Dr. Elena Vasquez studied the new data. The infection rates were horrifying. Nearly 60% of Yenari's population now showed symptoms. "The mutation happened too fast," she muttered. "Natural diseases don't behave this way." Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the fleet. A small Yenari shuttle broke through the planet's atmosphere, zigzagging desperately past the consortium blockade. "Don't shoot," Park shouted into his comm. "That's a civilian craft." The shuttle's pilot appeared on screen. A young Yenari female with tears streaming down her blue face. "Please, humans, I am Lyra, Minister Keela's daughter. You must know the truth." Consortium weapons locked onto the shuttle. Without thinking, Park positioned his ship between them. "Hope's Journey to consortium vessels," he announced. "You fire on that shuttle. You go through us first." The human fleet quickly followed suit, forming a protective wall around the small craft. The tension was electric. Admiral Morrison's voice crackled through the comm. "Ambassador Threll, explain why you're threatening civilians during a medical crisis." Threll's composure cracked slightly. "They could be infected. We cannot risk." "Enough lies." Lyra's voice interrupted. "The plague started after the consortium visited our science center. They said they were helping us upgrade our technology." Dr. Elena connected the dots quickly. "Captain, I need to examine that pilot immediately. If what she's saying is true." "Dock with us," Park told Lyra. "We'll protect you." As the shuttle approached, More Yanari ships appeared from the planet. Minister Keela's voice broadcast across all channels. The humans came to help when others wouldn't. Now the truth reveals itself. The consortium poisoned us. The consortium ships began to scatter, but it was too late. The human fleet had recorded everything. In the medical bay, Alina examined Lyra while wearing protective gear. Tell me exactly what happened at the science center. They brought containers. Lyra explained. Said it was advanced medical equipment. 2 days later, people started getting sick. Alina's scanner beeped. This isn't a natural pathogen. The cellular structure, it's engineered. On the bridge, Park faced a difficult decision. We came to deliver aid, but now we're in the middle of something bigger. Lisa looked at him. Orders, Captain. Park straightened his uniform. We finish what we started. Get those medical teams ready for deployment. And someone tell Earth Command, we've got evidence of genocide to investigate. As the human fleet moved toward Yanari, defying the scattered consortium ships, one thing became clear. They had stumbled into a conspiracy that would change the galaxy forever. Dr. Elena Vasquez hadn't slept in 36 hours. The medical lab on the Florence buzzed with activity as her team analyzed the plague samples. What they found made her blood run cold. This is definitely artificial, she announced to her team. Look at these protein markers. They're designed to target specific Yanari genetic sequences. Dr. James Okafor leaned over her microscope. It's like someone built this to kill only Yanari. But why? Young Dr. Amit Patel rushed in with new data. I found something. The plague structure has similarities to a fungal infection we treated in the Amazon. Elena's eyes widened. The one that affected the tree frogs. Exactly. The delivery mechanism is almost identical. On the Bridge of Hope's journey, Captain Park coordinated the relief efforts. Human ships had begun landing on Yanari, despite consortium protests. Medical teams worked in makeshift hospitals, while engineers helped maintain failing life support systems. Captain, Dr. Vasquez needs to speak with you urgently, Lisa reported. Elena's tired face appeared on screen. David, we can create an antidote. The plague's weakness is its specificity. Since humans aren't targeted, we can use our own immune responses as a template. How long do you need? 48 hours for a prototype. But we'll need live Yanari volunteers for testing. Minister Keela, who had joined the call, spoke up. I will be your first volunteer. My people are dying. We have nothing to lose. In the consortium command ship, panic was spreading. Ambassador Threll paced nervously as his superiors demanded updates. The humans have discovered the truth, he reported. They're already working on a cure. Impossible, snapped the Zixian High Commander. Their technology is primitive. They couldn't possibly understand our bioweapon. But Threll had learned something about humans in the past few days. Sir, they're using methods we never considered. Their diversity of thinking. It's unpredictable. Back in the lab, Alina's team made rapid progress. They combined traditional Earth medicine with cutting-edge gene therapy, creating a solution that was uniquely human. The key was in the rainforest data, Alina explained excitedly. Those frogs developed natural immunity through symbiotic bacteria. We can replicate that process. Dr. Patel monitored the first test results. It's working. The plague cells are dying. News of the breakthrough spread quickly. On Yanari, hope returned to the population. Human medical teams reported improving conditions. Captain Park watched the transformation with pride. Sometimes being primitive means you haven't forgotten the basics. Lisa nodded, like actual compassion and creative thinking. The consortium was so focused on their advanced technology, they missed the simple solution. As Elena prepared the first batch of antidote, she received an encrypted message from Earth. Admiral Morrison's face appeared, looking grim. Doctor, we've uncovered evidence that this plague was meant to clear Yanari for mining operations. The planet has rare minerals worth trillions. Elena's hands trembled with anger. They committed genocide for profit. We're gathering proof. Focus on saving lives. We'll handle the justice. As night fell on Ynnari, human medical teams began distributing the antidote. The plague that had seemed unstoppable was finally meeting its match, not through superior technology, but through human ingenuity, determination, and the willingness to see connections others missed. Admiral Morrison sat in her command center on Earth, studying the evidence that made her sick to her stomach. Classified consortium documents, security footage, and financial records painted a horrifying picture. The Xixian Empire planned this for years, Lieutenant Kumar reported. Ynnari sits on the largest deposit of xerium crystals in the sector, enough to power their fleet for centuries. Morrison's jaw tightened, and they chose genocide over negotiation. The Ynnari refused to sell. Their culture views the crystals as sacred. Meanwhile, on Ynnari, Captain Park led a covert team into the abandoned consortium facility. The place looked innocent enough. White walls, clean labs, official logos everywhere. "Spread out," Park whispered. "Download everything you can find." Lisa Chung accessed the main computer. "Captain, you need to see this." The screen showed detailed plans for the bioweapon, including projected death rates and timeline for resource extraction post-clearance. They even calculated how long to wait before claiming the planet. Lisa said, disgusted. 6 months after the last Ynnari died. In the medical ward, Dr. Elena faced a moral dilemma. The antidote was working, but she'd made another discovery. "The Plea has a kill switch," she told Minister Keela. "The consortium could have stopped it any time. They have the deactivation code." Keela's blue skin flushed purple with rage. "They watched us die when they could have saved us." "Worse," Elena replied. "They plan to sell the cure to survivors at impossible prices, create debt slavery for generations." The evidence kept mounting. Security recordings showed consortium scientists discussing acceptable casualty rates while sipping expensive drinks. Financial transfers revealed bribes to keep other species quiet. "We have enough to expose them," Captain Park reported to Admiral Morrison. "But they're powerful. They'll deny everything." Morrison smiled grimly. "Not if we broadcast it everywhere at once. I've been in touch with independent media across the galaxy." On the consortium command ship, Ambassador Threll realized their plan was unraveling. "The humans have breached our facility. They're downloading classified files." The Xixian High Commander's scales turned black with fury. "Send warships. Destroy the evidence and anyone who's seen it." But humans had anticipated this. Tech specialist Marcus Webb had spent days preparing. "Admiral, I've hacked into the Galactic News Network," he reported, "ready to broadcast on your command." "Do it," Morrison ordered. Across thousands of worlds, screens lit up with evidence of the conspiracy. Videos of planning meetings, documents detailing the genocide, financial records. Everything played on loop. The galaxy watched in horror as the truth emerged. The mighty consortium, guardian of galactic peace, had engineered mass murder for profit. On Ynnari, the people gathered around screens, tears of rage and relief mixing. They finally knew why they had suffered. "The humans not only saved us," Minister Keela announced to her people, "they exposed our would-be murderers. They risked everything for strangers." Captain Park stood beside her, uncomfortable with the praise. "We just did what anyone should have done." Keela looked at him with deep respect. "That's exactly why you're different. You believe everyone should help. The others believe only in profit and power." As the evidence spread across the galaxy, one thing became clear. The primitive humans had just shaken the foundations of galactic civilization. The Xixian warships dropped out of hyperspace like predators circling wounded prey. 12 massive vessels, each 10 times the size of the largest human ship, surrounded the Earth fleet. "All human vessels, surrender immediately," demanded Commander Vrax, his silver scales gleaming on the view screen. "You have committed acts of espionage against the consortium." Captain Park looked at his crew. Fear showed on their faces, but also determination. "Open channel to all ships," he ordered. "This is Captain Park to all human vessels. They want us to abandon the Ynnari. What say you?" The response came instantly. Florence, standing firm. "Atlas isn't going anywhere." Dawn Treader, ready to fight. Admiral Morrison, monitoring from Earth, made a decision that would change history. Global broadcast. Now, her face appeared on every screen on Earth. "Citizens of Earth, our people face consortium warships because they chose to save lives. I'm calling for immediate mobilization. Anyone willing to help? Military, civilian, anyone with a ship, the time is now." The response was overwhelming. Within hours, everything that could fly was being prepared. Retired pilots dusted off old uniforms. Private companies offered cargo ships. Even cruise liners volunteered. On Ynnari, Dr. Elena worked frantically to distribute the cure. "We need more time," she told Captain Park. 40% still need treatment." "Then we'll buy you that time," Park replied. The human ships spread out, positioning themselves between the warships and the planet. They were outgunned and outmatched, but they didn't back down. Commander Vrax laughed. "You think your primitive vessels can stop us?" "No," Park admitted, "but we can make you work for it. And while you're dealing with us, the whole galaxy is watching what you do next." In space above Earth, the rescue fleet assembled. Admiral Morrison's own flagship led hundreds of vessels. Military, civilian, everything humanity could muster. "Sir, the humans are sending more ships," a Zixian officer reported, panic in his voice. Vrax studied the scan. "Impossible. Those are passenger ships. Cargo haulers? Are they insane?" What he didn't understand was human determination. When the first reinforcements arrived at Ynnari, they brought unexpected allies. "This is Captain Krell of the Meridian Alliance," a new voice announced. "We stand with Earth." More ships appeared, from species the consortium had ignored or oppressed. The Darvians, the Ketheri, even the mysterious Yolan emerged from dark space. "We heard Earth's actions," Krell continued. "They showed us what true civilization means." The tide was turning. Faced with a growing coalition, Vrax hesitated. His superiors screamed orders, but he saw the truth. Attacking now would unite the galaxy against the consortium. On the ground, Minister Keela watched human medics save her people. Young Ynnari children, healthy again, played with human volunteers. "They're retreating," Lisa announced as the Zixian ships began to withdraw. Captain Park slumped in his chair, exhausted but victorious. Not through superior firepower, through superior humanity. The David had stood against Goliath, and the galaxy would never be the same. While the space battle raged above, human medical teams on Ynnari faced a different challenge. Zixian ground forces had sabotaged distribution centers, trying to prevent the cure from reaching remote areas. Dr. Elena Vasquez looked at the map of infected zones. "We have cure for everyone, but half the planet can't reach us." "Then we go to them," said Maria Santos, the engineer. "I didn't fix ships just to watch people die on the ground." What followed became known as the medical underground. Humans used every trick they knew to deliver the cure. Cargo pilots flew through storms that grounded consortium drones. Doctors rode local animals through mountain passes. Engineers rigged delivery systems from spare parts. In the northern continent, Dr. Patel led a team through dense jungle. "The consortium thinks high-tech is the only way," he told his local guides. They forgot about determination. Young Lyra worked alongside humans, amazed at their methods. She watched a human nurse named Tom use a children's toy drone to deliver medicine to a trapped family. "How did you think of that?" she asked. Tom shrugged. "My kid has the same toy." Sometimes simple solutions work best. In coastal regions, human sailors used ancient navigation techniques to avoid consortium patrols. They delivered medicine hidden in fishing boats, disguised as local traders. Captain Rodriguez, a retired fisherman from Chile, laughed at consortium confusion. They track high-tech signals. They can't track a wooden boat using stars for guidance. The humans taught Yaneri these tricks, creating a network of helpers. Local knowledge combined with human adaptability proved unstoppable. In the capital, Minister Keela coordinated efforts while receiving treatment herself. She marveled at human efficiency. "Your people work like insects," she told Captain Park, each doing small tasks that create big results. Park smiled. "We call it teamwork. No heroes, just people helping people." The consortium grew desperate. They deployed advanced tracking systems, but humans countered with low-tech solutions. When satellites tracked vehicles, humans used underground tunnels. When drones patrolled cities, they moved medicine through ancient sewers. Dr. Elena established mobile labs in caves, teaching Yanari to produce the cure themselves. "Knowledge is the best medicine," she explained. "We won't always be here, but you'll know how to help yourselves." By the third week, infection rates plummeted. The plague that had threatened extinction was beaten by creativity and cooperation. Ambassador Threll watched his plans crumble. "How?" he demanded from his remaining staff. "They have inferior technology." His science officer replied quietly, "They have something we lack, sir. They care more about saving lives than following protocols." As the last remote village received the cure, humanity's unconventional methods had saved an entire species. News spread across the galaxy of humans crawling through mud, climbing mountains, and sailing stormy seas to deliver medicine. The Yanari would never forget. In their schools, children learned about the humans who didn't just bring a cure, but taught them that compassion finds a way when technology fails. Elena looked at her tired team with pride. "We didn't just save them. We showed the galaxy a different way." The countdown was on, and time was running out. The Nihil, that monstrous force, was now so close that its shadow stretched over the planet. Buildings shook as the ground trembled beneath the combined forces of the human and Silian military. Despite their brave efforts, their weapons had little effect on the unstoppable force. The Nihil seemed almost alive, its dark, swirling energy consuming everything in its path. Inside the human command center, a group of Earth's top scientists and military leaders worked in a rush. Sweat beaded on their foreheads, and the urgency of the moment was clear in their eyes. The plan they had spent days working on was finally ready, but no one knew if it would work. The device was massive, a strange mix of human and Silian technology, sitting at the center of the battlefield, right beneath the heart of the Silian capital. It was their last hope, a gamble. The plan was to send a powerful energy signal that would disturb the Nihil's consumption process, causing it to unravel. The problem was, the signal could be too much for the planet itself. If the device didn't work, it might take down everything with it, including the Silians, the humans, and the planet they fought to save. "Activate the device," Commander Harris ordered, his voice steady, despite the chaos outside. The room fell silent, and everyone knew that this moment would either save or doom them all. Outside, on the planet's surface, the Silian and human forces formed a tight defense, holding back the Nihil's advance as best as they could. The skies were black, and the atmosphere felt heavy. The battle was far from over, but there was still hope. They had one shot. In the human fleet above the planet, Captain Elena and her crew watched anxiously as the countdown continued. Elena's eyes were glued to the screen, her fingers trembling on the control panel. The fate of the universe rested on the device below them. If the Nihil wasn't stopped, nothing would remain. Earth's fleet, though determined, had already lost many ships to the creature's power. "The device is ready," one of the engineers shouted into the comms. "Now we wait," Elena whispered, almost to herself. The entire crew fell into a tense silence, watching as the signal reached its peak. Back on the surface, the device hummed to life. It began to glow, an unfamiliar blue light surrounding it. The ground shook harder, and the sky seemed to crack as the energy surged. The Nihil paused, its swirling mass writhing, as if it were reacting to the disturbance. The ground trembled with an unnatural force, and the Itsilians held their breath. The signal was reaching its limit. They could feel it. This was their last chance. Then, with a blinding flash, the device released its energy. The Nihil, unable to handle the shockwave, began to shift and warp. Its dark energy unraveled, slowly, painfully, as the cosmic entity that had been devouring worlds began to lose its power. It was working. The Nihil was fading. But the device was not without consequences. The feedback from the energy pulse was immense, and it threatened to tear the planet apart. The final gamble had begun. Would the planet survive the energy surge? Would they live to see the dawn of a new day? The blinding light from the device slowly faded, leaving behind a heavy silence. For a moment, it felt as though time had stopped. The ground still trembled, and the skies above were dark, but something had changed. The Nihil, the terrifying force that had been consuming everything in its path, was no longer moving. The swirling darkness that once seemed endless was now breaking apart, its edges crumbling like sand in the wind. On the surface of the Itsilian homeworld, the Itsilian leaders and human soldiers stood in awe, their faces reflecting disbelief and relief. They had just witnessed the impossible. The Nihil, which had destroyed countless star systems, was now nothing more than a fading shadow. The energy pulse from Earth's device had worked. "It's over," said Commander Harris, his voice low with exhaustion, but also filled with triumph. His eyes searched the horizon, where the Nihil's presence had once loomed like a storm cloud. Above in the human fleet, Captain Elena let out a long, deep breath. She had watched the entire event unfold from the command ship. Her crew was silent too, each person processing the incredible victory they had just been a part of. The Nihil, that dark and ancient force, was finally defeated. But the victory came at a cost. The energy from the device had shaken the planet to its core. The ground was cracked, and many cities were in ruins. But the people of Cilia were alive. The human and Cilian forces had fought side by side, and their combined strength had saved their world. The Cilian queen approached Commander Harris, her regal form moving through the dust. There was a look of respect in her eyes, one that the humans had never seen before. "You have done the impossible," she said, her voice soft but filled with emotion. "We owe you everything." Harris nodded, his expression humble. "It wasn't just me. It was Earth. It was all of us. We fought together." The Cilian queen looked out at the sky, where the Nihil had once been, now replaced with calm. "We will rebuild, thanks to you." Earth's response had been nothing short of heroic. While the galactic empires had turned their backs, Earth had chosen to help. They had risked everything to protect an alien species, something no one else was willing to do. And now, humanity had earned the respect of the Ixalians and the universe. Word of Earth's bravery spread quickly. The galactic empires, who had once ignored the Ixalians' cry for help, were forced to take notice. They had underestimated humanity. Earth was no longer just a young planet in the galaxy. It was now a powerful and respected force. In the weeks that followed, the Ixalian and human leaders met again, forging a lasting alliance. The two species had proven that, together, they could face even the darkest of threats. Back on Earth, the world celebrated. The media broadcasted the story of how humanity had saved an entire civilization from destruction. It was a moment of pride for Earth, a moment that would be remembered for generations. As the first light of dawn broke across the Ixalian world, the people began to rebuild. They were no longer alone in the universe, and neither were the humans.